Oh, it's big. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's probably too big. It's usually what she says, right? All right, guys, welcome back to Exotic Car Hacks, and in today's video, we're taking a look at my very big, really big, what do you guys think we're talking about here? We're talking, of course, about my new Rolls Royce Phantom. Were you guys really thinking about something other than a Phantom here? We're talking about my 21 Phantom that just came in, and this is glorious. So you may have realized that I used to have a Ghost here, a Brabus Ghost, a really beautiful car that I actually love to death. We talked about it a couple of times on the channel. It was one of my favorite Rolls builds of all time. I thought it was spectacular. I mean, absolutely spectacular, but it needed to go because there's a couple of things that I don't like, is keeping a car too long. And then the other part of it is that it was so beautiful, I had done all these modifications to it, that I was actually afraid to drive it now, which defeated the purpose of having a Rolls Royce. So I decided to buy another Rolls Royce that I could actually use. Now this one's a little bit different than the last one, so we're gonna take a look at what's happening. And the first day it came here, the wheels were already ready to go, so we modded it on the very first day. And I think it came out pretty good. It still needs a couple adjustments, but generally speaking, it's pretty good, it's pretty hot. So here we are taking a look at my 21 Phantom. This is a 600K MSRP Phantom. It is in Tempest Gray. This is like a gray dove with a hint of purple blue in it, and I think it looks really good. So obviously Mandarin interior, since it's a replaced the Ghost with the Mandarin interior, we have to have. And then here you see the back, of course, curtains, but a very exciting similar spec to my Ghost, but just slightly different. I actually think this color is nicer than the burnout gray. In person, I think it's just much prettier. So we're gonna do a lot of reviews on this. I wanted to kind of introduce you to the channel, talk a little bit about it. This is a $600,000 MSRP car, a lot of options, good color combo, and we fitted it with these really nice Vossen Novitec SP2 wheels in 24, because 26 obviously looks better. We lowered it with a control module, basically just programmed it to go lower, but it will still go a little bit lower. It looks better in low mode, but this is drive mode, so you can see it kind of sits still pretty like flush, but still pretty high. Nonetheless, we wanted to have a good driving position while also having obviously a good aesthetic position. The one thing about the Phantom is it's awfully large. So like, you can see that this, usually being so tall, drives very close to a Cullinan. But you know, something that's interesting about the Phantom, because I just really feel tiny in it. But one thing about this is, one, I didn't want the extended base because I intend to drive it. No, unfortunately, I want to have a chauffeur. Unless you're very attractive, we can talk about you driving me around. But nonetheless, I think one thing that is just huge on these particular cars that made me decide to buy a Phantom instead of wait for my Spectre, because you may have seen on Instagram that I had a Spectre here to kind of drive around for a little bit. So the Spectre I ordered a while back, and I decided to cancel my order because I just couldn't see the future value of vacuum cleaners, basically. When I got the car here, I got to play with it a little bit, and I was really excited about it, but then I realized it's really recycled Ghost with stars in the doors, and it just didn't appeal to me. It drove very high, it wasn't sitting on air suspension, so it was very different. It wasn't going to be able to be lowered immediately. I just got a really weird vibe about it, and it wasn't exciting, and so I decided to move forward and instead get a Phantom, which is something I'm probably going to keep a year or two and go from there. So like I said, you know, this is a 21. It was purchased for about $200,000 off of MSRP. And it's a really beautiful car, and I think incredible features, incredible options. It has this $13,000 like option called technical fiber, which is really interesting because a lot of people don't know there's a glass here in front of all the gauges, in front of the TV, in front of the middle infotainment, and even in front of the clock. This entire thing has a glass in front of it, so even though you have technical carbon fiber back there for 13 grand, there's a glass where you can't actually touch it or see it. So it's a really beautiful thing in person. Like, even my mom was really impressed, which was cool. But even that little clock there, $7,000 because it's a technical clock. So this little inlet there, just in this section right here, right, this little piece right here is like 20 G's, which I thought was really interesting. Then I really loved the black wood because it really brought it in. And one thing that was key, if you're gonna buy one of these, get a black headliner. This is a shooting star headliner, but even if you get a colored interior, make sure the headliner is black. Otherwise, the star effect diminishes significantly. Premium audio is a must. Of course, driver assist 3 with night vision and everything, just for the features and the making sure you don't go into a wall. But one giant difference about the Phantom, the Ghost, and everything else are these floor mats. You've seen me praise these floor mats in just about every single Rolls I have. This the $5,000 show floor mats. I call them the best wool floor mats that are like thick and just really give you this like sense that you're in a luxury car. The one thing about the Phantom is these are twice as thick as the Dawn, twice as thick as the Cullinan. And I thought that was really unique. I never really like experienced this personally because I'm not a big Phantom guy, but this was something different that I thought, this is exciting and unique, and I had never expected it to be. So a lot better than I expected from a driving standpoint. Originally, I wasn't a big fan. You know, like, did I want to do it? Did I not want to do it? How did I want to do it? So here I am now. Big fan now of the actual car itself. I drove it around a little bit. On day one, wheels were in, so it lost this old manish feel. And as you can see, it's very pretty. It's very large, it's very pretty, it's very exciting. And of course, it closes doors with the same like little button like the Ghost did. You know, having a newer Ghost brings you very close to this in a smaller format. And it was really funny because the reason I decided to buy this was actually because, and you guys seen I had 2 Cullinans on the channel, like the blue one that I enjoyed driving a little bit, then it sold for stupid money, so I just let it go. The thing that was really interesting for me about this specific car was that I was actually driving with one of my buddies in his Cullinan, and one thing that just hit, it was a very like base model Cullinan, just a really nice black badge, and we were just driving and it was so quiet, and we were in a like just an empty street, but you felt so isolated for a second, and then I realized I really missed this in the Cullinan. I missed the idea of just not hearing anything outside. I missed the quietness. I miss you're in something large and have all this room to move around and you don't feel crowded, and yet you have these stars on one side, and like, it's just this serene experience you get with a Rolls you get with no other car. I've always said once you go Rolls, we'd never go back, right? So, and that was a pun from earlier since we were talking about sizes. But anyways, so what I'm saying here is that, you know, for me with the Rolls, I just really miss that Cullinan feel, but for some reason, the shape and design of the outside of the Cullinan doesn't give me that holy shit wow factor, and the car is very common. That's why I originally went with the Ghost, but the Ghost had a much sleeker, more futuristic S-Class vibe, and so this kind of became the next, I'm gonna try this out and see how I feel about it once I actually get it, and then we'll go from there kind of mode. And that's when this kind of came about, and I said, okay, I'll just go with the Rolls Royce Phantom and see if I love it, don't love it, etc. So you have it here first on the channel. I wanted to give you a good view of it so you can kind of see how cool it is. We'll go in detail in the features on the next video so you can actually check out for yourself, like if it makes sense to buy a Phantom or not, and do of course a driving review and my thoughts since I've owned all the other Rolls Royces. We'll of course talk about that, driving yourself, being driven and everything in between. But don't forget, right now, right here, Black Friday is happening. So you could actually get a membership to Exotic Car Hacks and learn how to drive this completely free. Like literally completely free for the next year and a half, and get your money back when you're done with it. And if you want to learn how to do that, memberships are just $197. So click the link in the description, join us for Black Friday. We would love to have you. And more importantly, join our community, because we have over like 22,000 people now, and we'd love to have you bring in some value to that community as well. So if you've ever dreamed of owning a car, you currently own an exotic, or just want to join us, click the link in the description as well and jump on Black Friday. Otherwise, like, subscribe, turn on notification, and let me know, what do you think of the spec? Did the spec master outdo himself, or do I need to take a vacation? It is big though, really big. My name is Pejman Gadimi, and I teach people how to drive exotics for free. Let's look here at how this Huracan can cost as little as $300 a month.